Hey, this is Mars, and you're watching Cartoon Galaxy Rants, Episode 1. Now, I'll be honest, this is my first time doing any commentary stuff, so please be kind and know that anything I say is just my personal opinion, and nothing more or less. So I figured for this first video, I'd discuss something near and dear to me. I want to talk about the famous and nostalgic Scooby Gang. In case you didn't know, I've been a fan of these meddling sleuths back when I was a meddling little kid myself. You could see their influence, in fact, all over my channel, from the zany animations to sketch compilations. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. So yeah, can't stress enough how much I love these guys, and with that, I thought I'd take my first jab at commentary by sharing my thoughts on that new Velma show that was announced back in February of 2021. Dark times for the world, but good news for Scooby fans. Or was it? Before I can get into that, however, let's take a little look at what the show entails, according to the good old interwebs. Velma was described to be airing on HBO Max sometime in the future, although a date has not yet been announced. The executive producer of the show and the voice of Velma is none other than Mindy Kaling. I hope I'm saying her last name correctly. But if you are not familiar with her, she starred in the show The Office as Kelly Kapoor, and she also has some writing credits on the show as well. She also starred in and created the show The Mindy Project, which, I'll be blunt, I watched bits and pieces of, but wasn't really into it that much. It wasn't a terrible show, but just wasn't something that wowed me, I guess. No offense to anyone who may have enjoyed it. I mean, it did last for 6 seasons. Anywho, according to Warner Media's Tom Ashim, probably butchered that last name, the president of Warner Brothers Global Kids, Young Adults and Classics, stated the new Velma show would be focused solely on the book-smart detective and depict her as an East Asian character in a different world setting. The show would sway away from its usual child-friendly presence and be a more mature adult rendition, which I suspect is for an audience that is now adult after watching Scooby Doo when they were kids. And don't get me wrong, boy do we want to see more relatable adult themes, am I right? But here's the kicker. It was also explained that there would be no dog and no van in the show. Okay. Velma would just play on the 4 key characters, that being Velma herself, Daphne, Fred, and Shaggy. So you can imagine how most fans like myself reacted to this kind of news. And no, it had nothing to do with the ethnic change of Velma. That did not piss off everyone. Seriously, can someone tell Mindy and her Warner Brother pals to get their heads out their ass? They seem to think the main reason people are having mixed feelings about the show is the ethnic change of Velma. In fact, Mindy went as far as to say recently during her Warner Brothers Discovery upfront presentation, say that 5 times fast, in New York, no less, she stated, "Hopefully you notice Velma is South Asian. If people freak out about that, I don't care." Great take for an audience. You don't care about their opinion. Fantastic. Anyway, this is also where she shared a little picture that would raise eyebrows, but I'll get to that in a bit. Yeah, sorry, Mindy, no fan of the show cares about that. In fact, if you have seen past adaptations of Scooby Doo, Velma has been played by a person of color more than once, and no one huffed and puffed and blew fit. The only reason people were a little discerned about Velma is because, I don't know, maybe the absence of the dog, Scooby Doo. You know, the one the show is named after. But hey, maybe Warner Brothers and Mindy decided to take Scooby out because they felt he wasn't adult enough, for whatever reason. However, when you look at all the merchandise, the IP itself, everything else made with said IP, Scooby is slapped on everything. His face is on everything. Let's face it, he makes the franchise. His friends are just going along for the ride. And to add more support to how stupid this move is, this move of removing the dog, there was a comic that was released by DC back in 2016 called Scooby Doo Apocalypse. Even though I haven't read this comic myself, I've saw a few bits and pieces online. I know that this comic it featured the Mystery Gang in a whole new universe, and they're fighting off all these real monsters in a sort of apocalyptic setting. And believe me, it was not aimed for kids from what I've seen. There were some gory moments, but despite that, they had Scooby. He was there for it all. Hell, they even added Scrappy, one of the most hated characters of the franchise. And on top of that, they turned him into a badass. So maybe the second reason Mindy and Warner Brothers decided to remove Scooby from the show, maybe they felt that he was going to distract away from focusing on the gang. Well, that wasn't an issue with the animated show Mystery Incorporated, which not only included Scooby Doo, but was able to add all the teenage drama and all the backstories of all of Scooby's human pals. And just recently, there was a fan-made live-action Scooby Doo episode, I kid you not, also called Mystery Incorporated, and they were still able to focus on the teenage detectives while still having Scooby around. Yeah, Scooby didn't talk, but he was still there. By the way, if you haven't checked out this show, you should definitely check it out. It definitely beats anything Warner Brothers has been coming out with recently. Maybe they should take some notes. So yes, you can have the dog in an adult-themed Scooby show. Now with that said and out of the way, let's focus on the piece de resistance. The infamous photo that was shown at the Warner Brothers Discovery Upfront presentation in New York and plastered all over the internet. Yep, this. Now, as promised, we see that Velma is in fact dark-skinned, which, as I said earlier, is no issue in itself. We also see some girl with her brain removed, apparently, and a bunch of naked girls, since the scene has to be in a girl's shower room for some reason, staring horrified at all the gore that they see in front of them. And this is Warner Brothers' selling point? Okay, so don't get me wrong. Most folks will look at this and say, hey, they promised brown-skinned Velma and adult themes, and they delivered. No complaints here. However, fans looked at this photo and it still hasn't swayed the reluctance of the show. Why is that? Well, let me explain why I think this is, at least from my point of view as a fan. I'll do this by introducing a little thing called Scooby Natural that was released in 2018. This was during the 13th season of Supernatural, and I'm guessing its release was to celebrate their 13th season or raise ratings or something, or maybe both. I'm not really too sure. All I know is the show decided to make a unique episode where the main characters, Dean, Castile, and Sam, stumble into the world of Scooby Doo and meet the gang in an original Scooby Doo Where Are You episode. This episode being A Night of Fright is no delight. However, trouble ensues when an actual demon is in the episode and the gang is in real danger, meaning any of them could literally die. When this show was announced, it was in steps, which most shows do to build anticipation. And boy, did it work in this case. Not only were fans excited to see two cool franchises together, but it was the photos that were released that sealed the deal. And here are a few of them. Granted, there was one photo that showed some gore, but most of the photos were just of the characters interacting, and that's what brought out that adrenaline rush of anticipation. Fans knew there would be adult themes in this show, but that's not what drew them in so much. It was the excitement of seeing the characters interact in this crazy scenario they were in. In other words, there was an established idea of the plot of the episode, and the fans dug it, me included. Now, take this piece of crap. Not only is it just one measly picture, but think of what it says. Nothing. It says absolutely nothing. Besides the fact that Velma is brown-skinned, we have no idea about her character. Is there more to her being brainy? Like, is she going to be kind of sarcastic or cynical, or maybe the total opposite of that? Like, what does this photo really tell us about Velma or even the people around her? Why are there even girls in a shower room? Maybe having a few other photos would have helped. Or maybe they should have just released a more detailed synopsis of the show so we can know what to expect a little, and then from there have some kind of anticipation for it. Instead, all this photo is saying, it's saying, look how adult and vulgar we are, 'cause we got gore and naked girls. If that's all I have to anticipate for this show, well, no thank you. We don't even get a glimpse of the other members of the gang. That would have, in fact, gotten some kind of a positive reaction, I'm sure. Oh, but God help me, if that girl in the background is Daphne, I could really see how they plan to flesh out her character. No pun intended. So yeah, in short, there really isn't much about this show besides no Scooby Doo. It's adult, and Velma is a different ethnicity. And that's pretty much it. My only assumption for the vague information that's been given to us from Warner Brothers in regards to Velma is that they themselves don't have enough faith in it. That's what I get. They just don't have enough faith that this show is going to be good. Because if they did, there would be more material to show that it's good. And believe me, if they have a photo from an actual scene, they have more content. I'd be surprised if they didn't. They just choose not to show it. I guess they're just hoping us diehard fans are just not gonna care and watch Velma when it comes out because it's Scooby Doo. They'll make their money off of the Scooby IP, minus the Scooby, of course, and they'll call it a day. Now, hopefully, I'm wrong. And believe me, I want to be wrong so bad. I really hope I'm wrong. I want there to be a good Scooby Doo adult themed show. I've been waiting, like everybody else, a while for something like this. The closest I feel we've gotten is, in fact, Scooby Natural, the Scooby Apocalypse comics, and the fan-made Scooby show that was out just recently. I just have my doubts that this show, the Velma show, is the one. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you dig this video, please like and subscribe. If I get enough feedback, maybe I'll do more of these kind of videos. We'll see. Well, with all being said, hope you enjoyed. And take care and peace out.